Hey y'all, it's Laura. Welcome back to another Cocoa Vanilla Studio Design Team layout, and I'm using the beautiful Sun-Kissed collection, which is very summery themed and has a lot of pool or beachy tones to it and icons that work really well for your summer photos. So I am going to be illustrating my signature style with this particular layout, and for me that means I'm going to encapsulate the essence of my style by picking 5 things that I love to include on layouts. These aren't things that I include on every layout, but they're certainly some of my favorites. And it just makes me happy to see them on a layout. Now to get started on this one, I decided to go ahead and trim down a piece of white cardstock to fit onto this gorgeous mixed media paper from the Sun-Kissed collection. I am of course going to cut out the center of this paper because I don't want to waste it and have it hiding back behind my white cardstock. I purposely buy nice thick cardstock so that it doesn't need the extra weight of the pattern paper behind it, and this allows me to use this centerpiece on a future layout. So once I get my frame in place, we'll start bringing in some of those elements that are essential to my signature style. Now this photo is of my 2 oldest kiddos, and they had spent the entire day tubing and having an absolutely wonderful time, and I thought this photo really helped to grab hold of that summery theme from Sun-Kissed, and the colors were kind of perfect. So love it when that happens too. Now my first must-have element is journaling. Either a journaling spot or lines that I can add to the story that the photo has begun. Now, the amount of journaling that I add to a layout largely depends on the photo itself. How much of the story does the photo illustrate, like where we are at, what time of year, that kind of thing, and who's there. Now, in this particular photo, I actually don't have a lot of details related to this one. I was not the one who took it, and I was not there. And the only note I had left to myself was tubing and then the date. So that doesn't give me a whole lot to go on, and so I'm going to keep my journaling fairly minimal. But to add context to the photo, I am going to find other ways to illustrate the feeling of the moment, and you'll see how that comes together. Now my second element that I would love to include in a signature style are fussy cut florals. I really enjoy fussy cutting. I find it incredibly relaxing, and I do a lot of it. Every time I get in a new collection or a new kit, I love to go ahead and find whatever papers I can to fussy cut and fussy cut them. I have been known to over fussy cut occasionally and not leave myself enough papers to scrap with and have to buy more, but you know, I feel like that's a good problem to have, and it makes scrapbooking a little bit more economical for me because then I'm not using up all of my embellishments on the first few pages. I can stretch them out a little bit using fussy cut florals. Now, my third element is a multi-word title. Now, the reason multi-word titles really speak to me is I feel like they do add context to the photo, and at the same time, I feel like they give a little start to the journaling, and sometimes I even incorporate the words from my title into my journaling so that it reflects back onto the title, just kind of helps connect the two. I do occasionally use one-word titles, things that are more whimsical and generic, like love and family and things like that. There's nothing wrong with that. I quite often will use those sort of titles when I have a lot to say in my journaling and I know it's going to be a bit long. I'll often use a shorter title to give me more space to add in the story itself. And so if I want to keep my journaling succinct and short, I'll do a longer title, and if I want longer, flowy, explanative journaling, then I'll use a shorter title. I hope that that made sense. So the title for this one will be These Sweet Summer Days, with these gorgeous gold foam titles that came with this collection. I absolutely love foam titles, and I love gold. So using these was just, oh, perfection on this layout. And I really think gold works so well with bright colors. I'm going to end up bringing more gold in at the end of this one because I just can't get enough. And I really wanted to kind of center the title. So I have these sweet, and then summer is underneath of them, just kind of nestled in where those florals end. And then days will be dead center middle on these sweet. That way it has a very vertical column flow from my photo down to my title. And so as you can see, I'm still using a bit of linear design here. I've got a linear horizontal at the top with the 2 3x4 cards in my photo, and then a column of linear design coming down the center. I am a big fan of linear design, and I start a lot of my layouts with a linear foundation. I just find it quite satisfying to have that firm linear foundation, and then I soften it, usually with florals. And like I did here, just winding them into a curvy shape around my photo. This helps to carry your eye all the way through the whole layout, but it begins and it ends right near my photo, which helps to make it the focus of the layout. Now, the fourth thing that I like to add to my layouts are little detail pieces, little bits and pieces that make it feel finished. It's usually one of the last things I do. In this case, I'm adding a couple of different things here. I've added these little tiny gold pieces that were like the inside of the E's from my title, and I've just splashed them around some of the clusters as kind of an exclamation of the florals, and I really love the way that that looks. Not only does it help tie in that gold, that glittery gold in other places on the page, but it adds little fine details that are so much fun. I've also added some 3D elements, which is the fifth item that I add to my signature style. So I've added some epoxy wood buttons and some puffy stickers that give you that 3D feel and really give a lot of depth and dimension to the layout. So absolutely love including those things. So if you're keeping track, my 5 items were journaling spots, fussy cut florals, multi-word titles, little tiny details, and 3D embellishments. That encapsulates my personal style perfectly and are things that I like to include in my layouts as much as possible. I do switch it up, of course, A, to challenge myself, and B, just to be a bit more experimental and try new things. But these are the things that I tend to lean back on when I want to make a layout quickly and easily. This is exactly what I use. Now to finish off my layout, I'm doing a bit of scattering and splattering. This is how I finish all of my pages. I have those tiny little puppy hearts that I've tucked in around my florals. I've got some tiny fussy cut florals, again tucked in around the edges. I am going to bring in a couple of word phrases and this banner just to finish it off. Add a few more details here at the end, but then we'll do some Nuvo drops and gold ink splatters at the end, and that is my splattering aspect. And I find that splattering fills in those kind of awkward spaces, maybe some trapped space here or there. A little bit of splattering will help to fill them in, as well as kind of take the color and sort of blends it out into the white background. So it's not such a stark line between my bright bold colors and my white cardstock. It kind of blends and blurs that line a little bit when you have a little bit of splatter around the edges. Now I'm coming in with some hearts, just kind of tucking them into the florals. I love to tuck just random things into my floral clusters. I've got some sunglasses on the bottom left. I'm going to tuck in a few hearts. I put in a little drink because it's just so much fun to put like those little hidden objects into floral clusters. I've been known to put in puppy dogs and winter clothing into wreaths just because it's a little bit of fun. It's kind of an unexpected pop of something neat and cute mixed in with those absolutely gorgeous florals. And I love that kind of surprise when you're looking through a layout and you find something unexpected or even funny. I just think it's kind of clever and a neat way to jazz up your design a little bit. So I have added a couple of word phrases. I'm a bit of a wordy person if you haven't already figured that out. And so I've included a couple of word phrases on the page, one at the bottom right of my photo, the other in the journaling spot at the top left. I'll keep my journaling fairly minimal on this one because I don't actually have a lot of details to add. Bring in my Nuvo drops and the Heidi Swapp Color Shine for some splattering, and then this one will be complete. I do have some close-up shots and more information and details on the blog at cocovanilla.com.au, so be sure to check that out as well. So be sure to see the blog for some more inspiration from all of the design team members. That's it for me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Until next time, bye!